Alright, this video will be about self-respect. Now, this is the third time I'm trying to film this, but, like... Anyways, so... the thing about self-respect is it's a little tricky, because it's not something you control consciously. It's a subconscious thing. So, you can't just say, I'm gonna have self-respect now. No, it's based on your own actions and your own thoughts, you know? So, it's something you can control, but it's a subconscious thing, and you have to cultivate it. You know what I'm saying? Well, first off, thanks for all the subs and the likes and the comments. I appreciate every single one of you. Thanks for the tips on Venmo, Cashapp, PayPal. I appreciate every single one of you. Thanks for the Patreon support. I appreciate every single one of you. I'm about to put a video on Patreon that I'm afraid to even put up, but whatever, dude. I'm gonna put it up. Fuck it. And you know, I couldn't say these things on YouTube, but trust me, the people on YouTube, don't worry, my YouTube is not going to change. I can't put these things on YouTube. So, but my YouTube isn't going anywhere. It's not going to change, so don't worry about it. So, you know, so how do you get self-respect? So basically, what you do is you don't be selfish, you know, to make it really simple. Don't screw people over. Do what's right. Of course, you got to be a little selfish in this world. You can, you know, you're not Mother Teresa. You know what I mean? You're not a saint. You're a person. Maybe you want to be a saint. Maybe you are a saint. But you know, some people are so unselfish that they're like saints. I'm not one of those people. I'm as unselfish as I can be, while still kind of looking out for myself. But one thing I will not do is, I'm not going to screw people over. I'm not going to make the world a worse place. You know what I mean? At the very least, I'm going to, you know, be like, I'm not going to have a negative impact on the world. I try to have a positive impact, but at the very least, I am not going to make the world suffer for my gains. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do it. And I've kind of always been that way, but you know, when I was younger, I was a little asshole a lot of the times. I was just a fucking kid, you know what I mean? But as I got older, I started to realize that every kind of negative feeling and emotion it stems from our own actions. It stems from our own thoughts, you know? So here's an example. Like, if you watch my Why I Was Homeless videos, I explain, this is in the earlier, maybe the first video in the series, I explain how I used to work at this telemarketing place, and when I was selling gas. When I was selling a program where I was saving the people money, I was making a lot of money. I was making like $200 a day. But then they put me on this program where I was not going to be saving the people money. I was in fact going to be screwing them out of their money. And I couldn't bring myself to do it. All I had to do was do exactly what I was doing with the other program and just fucking lie to them and tell them I was gonna... But I couldn't really do it. So I would just sit there and play solitaire at my computer, just waiting to get fired, because I wasn't willing to trade my inner peace for money, you know? And, you know, it was the right move. I ended up getting a job laying sod that I really liked, and where I made a lot more money. But I didn't realize that at the time. I was willing to kind of sacrifice my job because I just wasn't willing to screw people over, you know? And I was almost a little jealous of the other people in the place who could do it, because I'm like, man, they're making all this money and it don't seem to be affecting them at all. But here I am years and years later, and it did affect them. It affected their self-respect. It affected them in a lot of ways. But you know, the effects of this type of stuff takes a while to, you know, it's like planting a seed. You know what I mean? The seed is going to grow. I planted a seed of self-respect, and they planted a seed of kind of the opposite of that. I don't even know what the opposite of that is. Like, I don't know, maybe low self-esteem or something. I don't know. But so, you know, if you're living right and you're doing what's right, even if it's going to cost you a little bit in the short run, that's kind of where self-respect comes from, you know? Like, there's, you know, and the people who have a lot of self-respect, they're a lot less afraid, and they have a lot less anxiety because deep down they know that they have kind of done their best to be a good person, you know what I mean? So they're not going to allow people to just treat them like shit, because they know themselves. They know they deserve better, you know? But see, now we live in such a messed up society that it forces people, like, subconsciously to give away their self-respect, you know? Like, it's hard to explain, but I'll give you an example. Like, I used to grow up listening to rap, and I used to think that, you know, it was a respectful thing to be like a criminal and a thug. That was like, I was like, damn, that's cool, you know? And so when I was in Vegas and I was dirt poor and dirt broke, I was thinking like, well, I'm gonna be brave and I'm gonna start robbing people with a weapon. That's what I was thinking. And this is because I grew up kind of thinking that, you know, being a gangster was a cool thing. But then when I'm out there with my little weapon, and I really got to thinking that, am I about to just start hurting people and taking their money? Like, what kind of fucking shit, what am I doing? You know, like, because it occurred to me, if they don't give up the money, they're not, you know, what if they try to fight me? I've got a weapon in my hand. I've got to use it at this point. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to kill people. I'm going to stab people. I was like, I'm not turning into that, dude. You know, I'd rather be fucking dirt broke than to live like that. Like, you know. So once I made that realization, I was like, I'm not fucking doing that, you know. And thank God I didn't do it, because had I done that, I would have a lot less self-respect now. So, you know, you see these like thugs and gangsters and stuff, and you think like, you know, oh wow, that person's really tough and they're not scared of anything. But 9 times out of 10, they're scared of every fucking thing, because the reality is that they know themselves, and they know that they got some shit coming. They know the karma. They know deep down on a subconscious level, they know they owe a karmic debt. So, like, a person with a lot of self-respect is the opposite of that. They feel like deep down on a subconscious level that karma owes them. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying you should do things because you want rewards. It's all subconscious shit, you know? So, you know, a lot of these people who act super tough and they've been to jail, and, you know, there's kind of two types of people who end up in jail. Believe it or not, a lot of them want to be there because they think it makes them tough, and they think it makes them cool, and they kind of want to brag about it, you know. But then there's another type who, man, they just end up there because they've been through so much crazy shit in their lives that they just, you know, you know what I mean? There's two types, basically. But the type who want to be like, some people, the world makes them a gangster, you know? But then other people kind of choose to be that. So in my opinion, the people who kind of make that choice just because they want to be cool and they want to be gangsters, they're not real gangsters, in my opinion, you know? Like, I've had people like that try to talk shit to me on the street, and they're shocked at how I'm not afraid of them. And in fact, there's a part of me that wants to squash them and show them that they're nothing but a goddamn fucking toad with stripes painted on them, pretending to be a tiger, you know? But 9 times out of 10, when you meet eyes with someone like that, and they see that not only are you not afraid, but you can't wait to get your fucking hands on them, it's like they don't want it, you know? And because they also know that deep down they kind of deserve an ass whooping, and you know, they know it's coming. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's like they know that they got some punishment coming, you know. And that's, you know, that's why a lot of them won't even fight. They just shoot people and shit, because they know 9 times out of 10 they can't fight. So, like, you know, their whole shit is just based on aggression and intimidation. So if aggression and intimidation doesn't scare you, they played their last card at that point. You know what I mean? Because once it gets down to an actual fight, you know, a lot of them, they're just not that athletic. And you know, and I'm not saying you should go around fucking starting fights with everyone and like showing everyone how tough you are. No, I'm saying you should do the exact opposite of that. You should be as peaceful as you possibly can be. And then when someone does start some shit with you, you know deep down that you did everything you can to be peaceful. So you know, it is what it is. Now you got to do what you got to do. But you know, you're not going to be scared because you know that without compromising your own self-respect, you did everything you could. So, you know, if someone's going to force you into a fight, fuck it, fight them. That, you know, I mean, like a lot of people say to swing first. I'm not like that because I'm pretty good at dodging punches. So I'm like, I'm comfortable with waiting. I'm like a counter striker, you know. If you're not like that, maybe you should swing first. Like, but I'm pretty confident in the fact that I will dodge the first punch, which is gonna leave them wide open for me to rock them. You know what I mean? So I'll always wait for someone to swing on me. But you'll hear other people saying that's a stupid thing to do. But that's, you know, some people are just counter striker types, and that's, you know, that's how they are, dude. So they're good at dodging a punch and landing their own. So you know yourself better than I do. That's just me. I'm confident that if I know a swing is coming, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna make a miss. You know, so when you kind of force people to throw the first punch, a lot of the times they don't even want to. You know, and it's like they can also sense that this guy's ready. So do I really want to do this? Like over this nonsense on the street? You know, like. Most people are smart enough to not, you know, to not get into that, you know. But so, you know, the thing with self-respect is, yeah, it's a subconscious thing. So it's based on your own past actions. So whatever you've done in the past, whatever, you know, everything comes back. Karma's going to come back. But what you should do at this point, from this point on, is just do what's right. Deep down, you know what's right. Do what's right, and your self-respect is going to grow. It's like you're planting a seed. Every time you do what's right, you're planting a seed of self-respect, which is going to grow. So, like, you know, just do what's right. Don't act like an asshole. But you know, like, and don't let people tell you who you are. You know, that's another side effect of having self-respect. You're not going to let people tell you like, oh, you're a piece of shit, or you're a pussy, or this or that, because you know yourself and you know you're not those things, you know. So you're not going to let people, you know, like, you know, a lot of these people who act like gangsters, if someone tells them they're a fake gangster, they're going to freak the fuck out, because deep down they kind of know they are fake. You know what I mean? Like, their self-respect is an act. It's not real. You can't have self-respect if you're going around, you know, beating people up, and a lot of these types, they'll only fight if they know they're gonna win. You know what I mean? So they're picking on people who have no self-esteem and no self-respect for whatever reason. Some people just grow up in homes or situations where their self-respect just gets diminished. I mean, you know, so it's almost not their fault, but it's because they're letting people have too much influence on them. You know, you've got to know yourself, and you can't let people tell you who or what you are. You know, deep down, you know yourself. Now you know how much you respect yourself. You know what I mean? So it's not something you can fake. You know, so my suggestion is, if you don't have much self-respect, you need to figure out why. Why do you feel that way? You know, like, you know, what have you been doing people wrong, or you know what I mean? Is it because your parents just kind of told you were worthless your whole life? You got to figure these things out on your own. But my suggestion is, from here on out, start with a clean slate. You know, whatever karma is gonna karma's gonna do what it's gonna do. But from here on out, don't try not to be too selfish. Don't make people suffer at your expense. I'm gonna make a video about like what I believe were Andrew Tate's biggest mistakes. And I believe that he made some major wrong moves. I'll do a video about it. I'm not gonna get into it now. But so, you know, here's the thing with me. It's like, even though I was sleeping on the fucking sidewalk, I was sleeping like a baby, you know, because I was at peace with where I was and how I ended up there. I didn't end up there because I was lazy or because, you know, I was screwing people over. I ended up there because I kind of refused to screw people over, and I always worked hard my whole life. So I was very at peace with it. I was, you know, did I want to sleep on the sidewalk when it's 5 degrees outside? No, but this is where I ended up due to, you know, because I refused to like sell my self-respect and pride for a little bit of money, you know? So now am I suggesting that everyone do that? No, because the situation, you know, the circumstances I was living in, I'm not sure a lot of people would be able to, you know, I don't know. You know yourself better than me, you know what I mean? But the suffering is real. But for me, it was making me stronger, you know? It wasn't diminishing me. It was turning me into a fucking wolf, you know? So even though it sucked and I wasn't enjoying it, I knew, I was like, yeah, this shit's good for me. You know, it's like training. It's like going through, I felt like God was putting me through fucking training, harsh training. And, you know, it did its thing, and it made me into who I am today, and I'm grateful for it, and I wouldn't change a thing. But, you know, I don't suggest that everyone just do that. I'm suggesting that, and everyone's not meant to do that, you know, everyone's different. So you've got to, you know yourself, dude. Don't ever let people tell you who or what you are. You know yourself. So, you know, start planting seeds of self-respect. Work out. That's another thing. When you defeat the enemy within is telling you to be lazy, to not work out. Every time you beat the enemy within, your self-respect is going to go up more too. So, you know, whenever you're feeling lazy or whatever, get your ass on the ground and do a couple push-ups. Just get moving. And that, the first set's always the hardest, the first set of the day. That's why I try to do it like as soon as I wake up and just get it over with. Because after that, it's nothing, you know? So working out will give you self-respect. You know, discipline. Like, you know, if you know that eating cake, if you're eating too much cake and cookies and bullshit, you know, stop. Control that. That's the enemy within trying to get you to, you know, it's diminishing you, you know? So is it easy? No, but the more you do it and the more you beat the enemy within, it does get a little easier, you know? So, you know, don't let it, try not to let it get the best of you. There's going to be times where the enemy within is going to get the best of you, but you've got to try to beat him the majority of the time. And the more you do that, the more self-respect you're going to get, you know? Trying to think. I'm trying to keep this really simple because it's a complicated thing, you know? Because it's not... And these are things that I just kind of was doing subconsciously through my life. But as I've gotten older and I'm a pretty deep thinker, I've realized that every time I have a negative feeling or emotion, it's based off of something I did. Like I've said in previous videos, when I would get all nasty with people around me, like trying to defend my little territory where I was doing portraits, it made me feel shitty in the future. You know? And it's hard to trace that feeling back to that, but I was able to. So I was like, I realized that I was kind of being selfish, and it just, you know, so it made me feel kind of shitty later on that I was acting that way. You know what I mean? And so nowadays I don't act like that. I would rather be nice and peaceful to the people around me, even if, it's going to cost me a little bit of money or something, my inner peace and my self-respect is worth more than money, you know? To me it is. Um, Another example, when I was really broke and really homeless, one time this gay dude offered me like $500 to give me a blowjob. And I was really broke at the time. And honestly, that blowjob was not that bad. I'm just kidding. I didn't take the blowjob. But had I taken it, I believe that would have costed me a lot of self-respect. You know what I mean? Um, but I didn't take it. And do you know how badly I needed that money at that time? But I didn't do it. I was like, it just it felt so wrong to me that I was like, no. I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about it. But I was like, I can't do that. You know what I mean? So thank God I didn't, because who the fuck knows? That was before I was even on heroin, you know? But then after I was on heroin, that like I was kind of already kind of solidified in myself, and I knew I wasn't turning to no crime or nothing nefarious. Or I by the time I was on heroin, I already had realized how important my self-respect was, and I wasn't giving it up, you know? So that's why I had to kick heroin so often, because I wasn't giving up my self-respect for it, you know? Which built more self-respect, you know what I mean? When you're sitting there suffering and kicking dope, like, yeah, it sucks, but years later, I'm like, wow, I put myself through a lot of shit to keep my self-respect, you know? So it's pretty intact. But at this point, I kind of understand it, and yeah, now for me, it's not really a subconscious thing anymore. It's kind of a conscious thing. Like, I refuse to give up my self-respect, you know what I mean? I'm not, I'd rather go back to sleeping on the sidewalk. Do I like sleeping on the sidewalk? No, I don't like it. But, all suffering is temporary, and, I would rather go through life at peace with myself, with self-respect, than without it. Because these are things that money can't buy. There's billionaires out there who, they may not realize it, but they would probably give up everything to get their self-respect back. You know what I mean? Because a lack of self-respect and a lack of, when you don't feel good about yourself, you end up doing drugs and all this shit, and drinking heavy and all this shit. So another thing you got to realize is that you gotta like forgive yourself. Like, everyone makes mistakes, everyone does things that aren't right. So you gotta realize that, forgive yourself, because God forgives you. You know what I mean? So whatever you've done, I don't care what you've done in your life, learn from it. Don't repeat it if it's a bad thing. Forgive yourself for it. And also try to forgive others. But that's the thing, the people who are unforgiving, it's like deep down they don't forgive themselves either. You got to forgive yourself too. I don't care what you've done. Don't keep doing it and then, oh, I'll just forgive myself. No, it doesn't work that way. Like, intention is a major thing. So if you're truly repentant, then forgive yourself. You know what I mean? You deserve forgiveness. Everyone does. And when, once you learn to forgive yourself, you learn to forgive others too. And that's another thing that cultivates self-respect, in my opinion. So, yeah, nobody's perfect. Whatever you've done in the past, forgive yourself. Don't do it again. You see now that whatever it was, it made you feel shitty. It made you feel bad. So don't do it no more. But forgive yourself too, because that's important, to be at peace with yourself. Let me think if there's anything else to say about this. I actually took notes, so let me see, because this is an important subject and I don't want to mislead people. And the more self-respect you have, the less anxiety and fear you're gonna feel. You're gonna know that whatever happens, you're gonna handle it. You're gonna be all right. And deep down on a subconscious level, if you are doing what's right, even if it's making life harder or whatever. Karma is going to equal out. You know, everything you lose in this life comes back in another way, but everything you gain, ill-gotten gains, the life is going to take them down the road at some point too, you know. So you know, and self-respect leads to courage, it leads to bravery. You know, it's an important thing. It's a really important thing, man. I just, man, I I probably should have just written all this out, because it's I don't know. We'll see if this video makes sense. But another thing you got to realize is you've got to trust God. You've got to trust the universe, trust the force, whatever you want to call it. Trust that everything is going the way it should. If things are going bad, you know, just don't worry about it. You like, whatever mistake, we've all made mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. Like, you know, making mistakes is 10 times better than doing nothing. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. Whatever position you're in life, if it's bad, don't worry about it. It's meant to be this way. Like, you know, like I said, when I was living on the street, I considered it like training. You know what I mean? I remember one time my buddy Ben was telling me this was that really rough winter, and he was like, "Man, I can't take this shit no more, bro." He's like, I just can't fucking. He's like, "This is I can't handle this shit no more." You know what I mean? And I was like, "Bro, let me tell you something. I get it, and it's rough, but you got to look at it like it's like training. You know what I mean?" So the position we're in now, it's hard, it sucks, it's rough, and it's bad, but it's gonna end sooner or later. And in the future, when you think back on this time, you're gonna feel a whole lot better if you look at it as training and you take it like a motherfucking man. Just handle it. You know what I mean? Don't let it get you down. Don't let it get you depressed. Just realize that sooner or later things are gonna be good again. And just be brave, be strong, be tough, and in the future you're gonna feel a whole lot better than you're gonna if we just sit here and like self-pitying and complaining. You know what I mean? This is the position we're in. We got to handle it the best we can, and trust me, in the future you're gonna feel a whole lot better about yourself, because it's training, bro, and it's forging you into who you're meant to be. So just we're gonna be all right, bro. You know what I mean? And the only reason I was even able to see it that way is because I had been through it before, and there were times where I was sitting there with the self-pity and all this shit, and I think back on those times with like shame. You know what I mean? But when I think back to the times where I was like just taking it, it gives me pride. It gives me self-respect. You know what I mean? So whatever position you're in life, don't let it affect you too much. You know, just realize that everything is going the way it should. And what's that saying? If you're going through hell, keep going, because you're gonna come out the other side of it a stronger, wiser, better person. And you're gonna if you handle it properly, you're gonna feel good about it. You're gonna think back on it with like nostalgia, like, you know what I mean? So do the best you can, and don't screw people over. You know, some people, whatever, they're just selfish, and that's the way they are. And I don't know. I don't know. Like, but and then they're not depressed. So I don't know. But a lot of people, if they're not being the person that they know they should be, they don't feel very good about themselves. I need to make a video about depression, because it's kind of connected to this subject. Because, like, you know, people don't realize that their depression, you know, I'm not a friggin' psychologist or anything, but depression, God didn't just, you know, make a mistake when he made you. He didn't put the wrong chemicals in your brain. What happened is you've done things in the past that make you feel shitty now. You know what I mean? You got to trace these feelings back. And sometimes it probably wasn't even your fault. You know what I mean? But you've got to figure out really dig deep into your feelings and be like, why do I feel this way? Why exactly do I feel this way? What is it based on? Where does it come from? You know? And get, work out, be strong, be physical, get outside in the sun, walk around. It's not easy. When I go to the parks around here and I'll see a big old fat person walking around, I'm proud of them. I'm like, yeah, good. Get your fat ass off the couch outside and fuck it, bro. Get out there and walk, bro. Anything is better than just sitting there and going to shit. You know what I mean? I feel proud of these people. Good for you, bro. Get out there. Fuck what people think. You know what I'm saying? What matters is how you feel about yourself. Don't be afraid of nobody, man. So I guess that's it. I'm gonna watch this video, make sure it makes sense. Yeah, every video I make ends up being about a half hour. That's fine. I don't know. Should I be making shorter videos or whatever? Y'all let me know. But so, thanks for the subs, the likes, and the comments. I appreciate every single one of you. Thanks for the tips on Venmo, Cashapp, and PayPal. Appreciate every single one of you. Patreon, I'm gonna throw a video up soon and we'll see. Hopefully it don't get y'all motherfuckers all upset. You gotta realize that I'm just being honest. You know what I'm saying? It's how I feel, bro. And you could feel free to debate me. I'm not afraid of a little conflict. We can do it civilly. You know what I mean? No problem. Like, let's argue. Fuck it. If I'm wrong, I want to know. If I'm fucking wrong in any thought or action, I want people to point it out. I want to be right. You know what I'm saying? I seek the truth, like Marcus Aurelius said, which never hurt anyone. Anyways, so anything else I want to say? People in this parking lot probably think I'm fucking nuts sitting here just ranting and raving into my dashboard. But whatever, who cares? I'll see y'all on the next one. I got a lot of fucking videos I want to make, but we'll see what the next one is. I'll see y'all on the next one.